I want you to think back to the first time you ever remember being truly afraid. What was it? Does it stick with you today? This is the sort of thing that we talk about on the House of Asher. Won't you join us? The House of Asher, a clearinghouse for the mind.
Welcome. This is episode 14 of House of Asher. I am your host, Stevie Asher. And been a long time coming, guys. Like I said, we've had a lot of stuff going on. I'm just finally now getting the International Wall of Horror up the way I like it. Added a few things, moved a few things around. Much like in anything, entropy and change is a constant, so you'll see different things happening on the wall. Some of the stuff, as always, that will be up will be things from Aller's Oddities. My good friend Doug Aller was kind of provide all that sort of stuff, and so I always want to make sure to keep something right in the limelight because that's my dude. Okay, as I was saying, this is episode 14, and I think I'm going to talk about today is like connections with the afterlife, and not like, oh, well, here's a ghost that's we're investigating a location, or here is some sort of individual or whatever manifestation of power. I'm talking about somebody or something you know. I'm talking about a grandmother, a grandfather, son, father, whatever, mother, whatever, great Aunt Susie, be it what it may. Having visitations from those individuals, where some people might write that off to a person's individual grief, coping mechanisms. I know, like, if you've been used to hearing a person that would get up early in the morning, walk through the hallway, make a cup of coffee or something, I can see where a person's minds could still do that same sort of thing. Now, the thing I'm talking about is a little bit different. What I'm talking about specifically is actual communication, and sometimes it might be anything going, hey, I am here, I'm safe, don't worry about me, I know you're very concerned about this and that, there's no need. So that's one of the things I'm talking about. There's one specific one that I remember. My mother, whose name was Myrtle, and again, a lot of my formative paranormal experiences and teachings and whatnot came through her in way of the oral tradition of stories from her people out in Appalachia area and things like that. But she was talking about they were listening to a record player, and it was back in the old days, and at the time, I'm trying to remember, I think that the record had stopped, and it was at the end of the record where you'll have that part before it picks up and the arm goes back to the beginning of the record or stops or however you got it set. And she said she remembered smelling flowers, a certain type of flower, either thinking it was a lilac or chrysanthemum or something like that. And she heard her name. And it was one of these things that it wasn't just like some strange voice out of nowhere said her name. It sounded like, I believe it was her aunt that had passed. But at the time, as I understand, she did not know this. And come to find out that she had died roughly about the same time that that communication come across. And her and this aunt were very close. There's that thing where, you're going to have that kind of communication back and forth. If there's a very strong bond, sometimes if there's unfinished business, sometimes people talk about, a family member, somebody, I don't want to say haunting them, but visiting them, but they'll take it as something negative, and maybe they're trying to say, hey, whatever. Hey, the bonds or silver dollars are under the third stair on the staircase, or the something. It's not always something malevolent. And so, but anyway, I thought that always that was a really kind of interesting story due to the fact that um, there was activity, basically EVP activity. I mean, it's a thing of, it doesn't have to be guys and matching shirts and hats and going out with gear. This happens really organically. I don't know how many people realize this, but when the telephone was being put together, which, I know, right, there's a back and forth between Bell and Marconi and all this, and Tesla is involved in different things. But anyway, let's just keep it to Alexander Graham Bell. Uh, Alexander Graham Bell was somewhat involved in spiritualism. I say somewhat in air quotes. It was enough that he was trying to make a device where he could communicate with the dead. And I mean, that's a labor of love. So anyway, we come by the telephone due to the fact that this guy is trying to contact people across the veil. But but there's also been people who have reported, well, basically, I guess, premonitions or warnings and about certain things that would show up. And when you talk about things that, which my mind goes to, things like Mothman, stuff like that, things that you see or appear, banshees, hellhounds, various other type of things. And people connect that with nature too, as well as like, a bird dying in your window or flying through your house. If you don't get it out, they'll die. People will die in so many days. But there are people that have seen, physically seen loved ones, and they'll come to them and go, look, do not take that flight. Do not get on that boat. I mean, in hindsight, you hear these stories about, like the Titanic, and 9/11. There's been people that said, I was all set up and ready to go. I just heard something in my head says, just take another flight, or don't go to work today. Just stay with your family today. And what's so funny is that they didn't say, oh, they told me, oh, the plane is going to crash, or they told me, oh, the boat's going to sink, which I kind of see it, because part of it would be like, well, why wouldn't they want everyone else to know and save all these other lives? But then it's a thing, well, if they first of all, you put all that on one person, and then they're sitting there going, oh my God, the boat's going to sink. Oh my God, the plane's going to crash. I'm going to say, yeah, call the truck. And so this guy's down the hill, at the nuthatch, and say goodbye to your boy, because he's going to be in there for a while. And even if he's not committed, if there's been especially like nowadays, if there's been some sort of attack, people are going to be going, yeah, I don't see how you don't. So great, Uncle Rufus come visited you, whatever. Nah, it's okay, who's leader yourself, that kind of thing. So I can understand why people might take another avenue to get there. But this is a sort of a thing that you would think it would not happen, or would be extremely common, because you would think, well, okay, well, why did somebody not warn JFK or Lincoln or whatever? Not sure. Which I do know that Mary Todd Lincoln was very involved with the occult and spiritualism, and up through her, up to the end of her life. And things have just been connected like that in bad ways for people. I know her son was there. Well, obviously when his father was shot in the theater, and at the sight of two other people in politics, to which they all died. It was to such a degree that he said, "I will never ever be involved, with any, publicly anybody in politics," which was probably really smart move on a lot of levels, but I won't get into that politically. But yeah, that's something. And think about the fates. People would induce through breathing these vapors from these caves and cracks in the ground to induce a contact with spirits. And sometimes it would be people's loved ones. They'd want to know, did their whatever their father, uncle, or whomever make it to what the positive side. They wanted to make sure they made it to the good side, not Hades or whatever you want to call it. But I'm kind of curious what you guys think. I know that a lot of people have, pretty strong ideas on what they think the paranormal is and visitations are. And is it a good thing? I don't say is it necessarily a good or an evil thing, because for me I'm kind of a dualist. I think it's it's kind of relative. Not to say there's not what I would consider pure human evil and pure human good, but I'm just saying we're on a kind of a slide rule in most things, I think. What's your opinion on it? I want to see what you guys think in regards of having these types of experiences. So get back with me. You can reach me here, YouTube in the comments, or visit my page, steveeasher.com, and let me know what you think. And don't forget to check out Allers Oddities. That's in Paducah, Kentucky, and also Posh Embroidery here in Princeton, Kentucky, which takes care of all my haunting of shirts and merch and whatnot for my signings for my books. But as the overcast is settling in today, I want to make sure you guys take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and tonight, when things slow down, make sure to check your closets, check under your beds, and until next time, stay scared.